You know, if I stay still long enough, then my hair grows out. You wouldn't be able to see me. Or I wouldn't be able to see you. Look at that. Anyway, good evening, everyone. This is Dustin DaHusky again. And I thought I'd talk about something else for pandemic talk. A few things popped in my head today about what's going on in the world, mostly in this country, but one subject I'll probably get into is about the world. But let's start with one close to home. So we know 2020 is an election year. I won't get into politics. Don't have to worry about that. Don't want to get political on my channel. It's not the place. And yeah, it's just not the place to discuss that kind of stuff. However, I just wanted to discuss the power of voting. If you, furry or non-furry, if you are of the age to vote, welcome to the hellhole that is politics and voting. And hello, and have this huge responsibility that you as a person in this country can vote to whatever you feel is a good thing to support, which is fantastic. It's good to vote. You can understand why people who don't want to vote, people who feel very frustrated with everything, and believe me, I'm frustrated too. But I still think you should vote. At least get your voice heard through ballot. At least it's a chance that you can get some things changed. I mean, there's a 1 in 2 chance that you either win or lose as far as, yeah, you do end up getting a person voted in or didn't get voted in. That's the whole game of voting. It's exciting because you don't know what's going to happen until it happens, and then disappointment or excitement, whatever, power of voting. And again, you should exercise it. However, with 2020 being messed up as of a year it is, and hearing that countries are starting to have a second wave now, as we as Americans in this country are still in wave number 1, although I don't even know if it's actually decreasing. I haven't paid attention in a few weeks. Just been depressed about the whole thing so far. But we know this is a pandemic, but it's also voting year. And a lot of new voters and a lot of current voters. And up until this point, I've always voted in person. Because you know what? Some people say it's boring. It's a nice civic duty thinking that you're playing a part in your states or your local community, your state community, and your national community at large. You're doing your civic duty by voting while your ass and 400 other people's asses in one line, just a line of ass, an ass of line. And you're all following the line of ass into a building and being directed by name. And then you meet people from school and say, hey, I haven't seen you since then. So, typical small community stuff and whatnot. And then you do your vote, which is pretty simple. If you have not voted, you'll find out it's not rocket science. I can guarantee you that. But pandemic, large groups of people is a big risk nowadays. What can you do? Well, it's simple. Request an absentee ballot. You want to vote. You believe what's right for your country by voting whatever you want to vote. Go for it. That's your right. Please vote. Regardless of what it is, I want you to vote because it's important. So I got some online information, not really hard. I'm sure from other states. This is, I think it's universal, but I'm sure you can do a very quick, simple search for your own state. Probably very, very similar. Probably based on the same website. But I'm going to be talking about Wisconsin voters. But then again, I think, again, it's all universal, so this information will definitely translate well to other states as well. So you're in Wisconsin or other state, and you want to do absentee voting. That means you're not voting in a voting booth in a building or city hall, library, or community center. You are going to be voting at home, and you're going to put your tongue to an envelope and scribbling stuff on a ballot, getting a witness, putting your address down, and then sending it out in the mail. It's also just as easy as that. However, to get your ballot, what you're going to have to do is, in this case for Wisconsinites, I'm sure it's very similar except you replace the abbreviation of the state with your state's abbreviation, I believe. I've not voted in any other state but Wisconsin, so mileage may slightly vary. But number one, you go to myvote.wi.gov. Then you hit the hamburger. You know the little 3 lines? I call it a hamburger because it looks like a hamburger. The website hamburger. But it doesn't come with cheese or onions. Unless you like that stuff. Which I wish it did. Then it'd be like 5 lines. Oh, it'd be a Big Mac. So you hit the hamburger, you click Vote Absentee. Then you fill out your information online. You put your name down. I think you put your zip code or something like that. Then it'll give you further information and it'll request you to take a picture or scan your driver's license or state ID to show that you are this person, and then they'll give you the documentation. Because I've done it through myvote.gov back in March or February. It'll give you the opportunity to it'll give you the option, which at this point you're kind of forced to do the general election vote, but earlier in the year there was the primaries and other state local votes or elections and whatnot. And you can actually pick and choose if you just wanted a particular absentee ballot or if you wanted the whole 2020 season. I picked 2020 season because you know what? I don't think it's smart to go out and vote in person. Maybe not be the safe thing. So I did that. So far I've been getting all of my absentee ballots mailed to home, and I just fill it out same day and I put it in the mail the next day. Because you know what? It's like paying off your credit card. As soon as you get it, you should fill it out, send it on its way. Don't wait, just simply do it. Because people have been worried about absentee votes not being counted. And I've talked to one furry local who actually does work for the USPS, the service in question that people think that is not efficient enough or capable of withstanding this many votes. And from my friend who works within USPS says they've had a very, very quiet and very, very slow year so far as parcels. They have said that they're not swamped. They're twiddling their thumbs because, oddly enough, the mail has actually kind of dropped a bit this year. So there's very little excuse of things being mailed late, at least once they get it. However, you must be responsible enough to mail things on time. Make sure you do it before deadlines. Which there is a deadline to request which actually once you get your information, you send it down, they give you your information. It's best to do this as soon as you can. Don't wait. Just simply do it. It's pretty easy. I think it takes you about maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes at most if you're scanning something. So it doesn't take that long. So a busy day doesn't take that long. It's not teeth pulling. It's not a few hours. No, it took me, because I did it at night and I was distracted doing other things, 20 minutes. But it could have taken me half the time if I just focused. It's best to request your ballot as advanced as you can, because why not? Just do it. That way it's done and over with. Is it the middle of September? This is the 14th of September, so I would say probably getting there. Which probably by the time you see this video, it would be a little bit short. It will be a little bit past this date, but request your ballot as advanced as you can, and the deadline to request a ballot by mail is Thursday, October 29th, 2020, which doesn't give you much time when it comes to the election, which is November 3rd. So, yeah, that's cutting it incredibly close. At that point, you should have long submitted your information by then. You should not ever wait. I would say the first, second week of October, but even still, you're pushing it. Because now you're adding to the big pile. Better to do this now. Definitely makes the job of USPS workers a little bit more easier if they had a consistent load of people who just submit information. Slow trickle, not slow trickle, but more like an even trickle of absentee ballots being mailed. Instead of the last 2-3 weeks of October and then all of a sudden it's a mountain because people end up doing it too late. And sometimes people may not even actually be able to get it on time and forced to vote in person. So, when it comes to voting, consider absentee voting. You throw a paddle boat in the water in a pond and let it go. And then find a way to retrieve it. But absentee voting. It's a good idea. It's safer. Your vote will get counted. It should. Bit cynical. If paper ballots weren't counted, your ballot in person probably wouldn't count either. So if you don't think voting by mail counts as a vote, you can also say that your vote in person doesn't count either. So it can go both ways. So have faith that your vote is counted. Regardless of how you do it, it's going to have to, or meh. So, yeah, your deadline to request or to be received in by. So I believe that is the last day you can submit your ballot is by that date or on that date or something like that. I think before that date. So go to myvote.wisconsin or wi.gov, and if you're in another state, see if that changed abbreviation gets you to your appropriate website as well. Because voting is important. Regardless of what you believe in, you should vote. So, this has been another Pandemic Talk by Dustin DaHusky. My floofs are still glorious and floofy and not in my eyes at this point. At least for now. So, take care, guys. Be safe. And vote.